privilege today, and a real privilege 2 days ago, to be given a guided tour in the cockpit of one of these aircraft.
And what's that like?
Typical of my speed dash, I would to offset and get around any potential fighter adversary.
Coming in then for their first pass, these two Polish Air Force Su-22s, and we expect to see different wing sweep configurations on them, and indeed we do, because this is a variable geometry, a swing wing aircraft. This time, it was known to the Soviets that the Su-17, Su-22 being the export designation, was born of the need to make the existing Su-7 fighter bomber easier to operate. The desire was to increase its range, lower the landing speed so it could operate from field locations if necessary, with a considerable reduction in the landing distance with that, of course, and enhance the aircraft's slow speed manoeuvrability. Sukhoi developed a test bed which led to the prototype Su-17 first flown in July 1969. The production of these aircraft continued until 1990, when the last examples rolled off the line. There were successive variants, it was developed all the time, and it was used right across the Warsaw Pact and countries in the Soviet sphere of influence, apart from Poland during the Cold War. Those were in Europe, Bulgaria, Czechoslovakia, East Germany and Hungary, continuing this racetrack pattern for their opening flypasts.
For the sharp-eyed amongst you, you will notice a very slight difference in angle of attack between the two aircraft. Now, the aircraft with the wings swept forward will be producing more lift, but to maintain position will have a slightly more nose-down attitude than the aircraft with the wings swept.
In the Cold War, the tactic of these aircraft would have been to penetrate hostile, i.e. Western airspace, notably across the inner German border between East and West Germany, using high-speed, low-level tactics to try and evade enemy fighters. When compared to the Soviet norm for a Soviet aircraft at the time, the navigation and attack computers on the fitter were advanced, but nonetheless this would have been a very risky undertaking for their pilots, just as it would have been for their NATO counterparts. Anti-aircraft artillery, AAA, was one of the particular risks, and contrary to NATO, the artillery used for attack operations. Recently, Libya used them in the 2011 war, and Syria has been employing them in the current conflict there. Poland originally received 110 of these aircraft, all of them based at Swidwin, and these two aircraft come to us from the 40th Tactical Squadron, being flown by Major Bartłomiej Meka and Captain Radosław Leszczyk. Two aircraft positioning now and coming in for simulated dive attacks. Aircraft, as with all Soviet types of the era, and they should be staying in service for a good while longer. They've chosen those examples they deem to be in the best technical condition, and amongst other improvements, new radios will be fitted, also NATO standard instruments. Their out of service date now delayed until around 2024, 2026. Remarkable when you consider the age of the platform. Two aircraft now coming in opposition. Extension program. They tend to use those to train Polish joint terminal attack controllers, as they're now known, forward air controllers in the older parlance, and air defence units. For close air support, the aircraft's current task is perhaps not ideal, but nonetheless a type that's soldiered on and really given splendid service. charismatic machines of these dating back to the 1960s and 70s are gradually going out of service. So a privileged opportunity, even though the fitter flies on in Poland, to see Polish airports. First time we've seen this Polish display pair of fitters in a British Air display, and they'd be the first of many. And the second aircraft streaming the chute just before touchdown there.
Yeah, the drone chute would have a maximum deployment speed, which would generally be inside of the flat lowering speed, so it was always possible to deploy the flat once the aircraft was out.